Yuri, yes? Well, what do you have to say to that, Yikes. What do you have to say to that, Sayori? Huh? Well, that sounds all good, Mr. Detective, but do you have any proof? Well, there's an easy way to find out. Show us the contents of your purse. Yeah. Fine. You win. How do you know anyway? Like I said, I know you, Sayori. Besides, you're always hungry. True, true. Care to join in the conversation, Yuri? From her being deep into her thoughts and then suddenly saying that, I think I now get why it was kinda weird. Oh. It was just something in the book. I wasn't eavesdropping, I promise. Yuri! Midas is being a meanie. Tell him that if he was a true gentleman, he'd lend me some money. I shouldn't really get involved in this disagreement. Besides, if you have spent all of your money, then you shouldn't ask for more. You should learn to be more responsible with the amount you have. And frankly, after pulling a mischievous little stunt like that, your suffering is fair enough retribution. Wow. Wow, Yuri. I don't think I've ever heard you speak your mind like that before. It's a really neat side to you. Huh? Really? I didn't mean to speak out of turn or anything. I'm so sorry. I just my book and all. Sure, Yuri. Oh, but I did speak my mind. It was such a simple thing. Could it be? Am I becoming a stronger person? Please, in the right way this time, Yuri. Because of him? Okay, everyone. You know the drill. We'll be reading our poems a little later, so go ahead and get lost in your books. Ahem. Another one. What do you... Manga... Like, you get manga in books. I'm not wrong, right? Thank you. Yuri? Would you mind getting the tea ready? Of course, Monika. Everyone heads off to their respective corners. Natsuki opens the closet and starts inspecting her manga. She said she has a feeling someone has been moving it around, so she's been pretty thorough with her inspection. She'll probably be ready to read a volume later. Sayori heads to the front of the classroom to discuss club matters with Monika. Yuri is gathering the tea set. I'm not really sure what to do for the moment. I actually cut out some anime time to read my chapter of Portrait of Markov, not to mention a volume of Parfait Girls. I'm sure my Unwatched episodes will learn to forgive me. Yuri's book is actually starting to get good and I was interested in discussing it with her. So I guess I'll wait for her to get done making the tea. I put my bag down and take out my copy of Yuri's book when she suddenly approaches me. She's facing me, but isn't making direct eye contact. Her hands are busy fiddling with a teapot. Would you like to help me fill up this teapot? In the hallway? Once again, I'm taken aback by how cute Yuri is being when she's nervous. Which is pretty much all the time. She's pretty cute all the time. How could I possibly say no? Your thing, Yuri. I put down the book and start to follow her out of the room. As we approach the door, Monika glances over and calls out to us. Yuri? Did you ask Midas to help you with the tea? The question seems to surprise Yuri, which hesitates with her answer. Well, yes, I just thought... That isn't really a two-person job now, is it? I don't think you need to burden our newest member with something so mundane. You should be spending this time reading something. It's no trouble, Monika. I was just... Monika. The tone of Yuri's voice surprises me. Instead of a normal stutter, this one word was pointed and direct, without a faint or a hint of hesitation. I turned to face Yuri, surprised at her own boldness. Even her posture has changed to project an air of authority. Her back is straighter, and the normally averted gaze is fixed directly at Monika. I asked him to help me because he's a gentleman. And as a gentleman, would it be not his duty to assist a lady with whatever task, however minor, she is faced with? Would you ask me to deny Midas an opportunity to participate in his gentlemanly duties? There's a small detail in this line that I will address in my review. It's good. It's good, and you get brownie points for me if you manage to point that out. Well, no. Furthermore, it is afternoon. Afternoon. It is after school hours, and our clubroom is on the far side of the building. There are no staff around this area to keep an eye on things. It would be unwise for a young woman such as myself to head off into a strange area without an escort. Ah, and that sounds kinda hypocritical considering what happened yesterday. Do you not agree? Well, I suppose you're right. Yuri triumphantly throws her head back. Thank you for conceding the point. In the future, I would ask you to mind your own business. And with that, Yuri quickly turns and starts at the door. I'm completely dumbfounded. Well, I can't believe that. Just came out of the shy reserve Yuri. I take a moment to collect my thoughts as I head toward the door. Huh, how will Monika respond? Before I step out into the hall, I get the impression that all activity in the clubroom seems to have stopped. I turn around to glance behind me, and notice Natsuki quickly ducking her head into her box, while Sayori suddenly holds a piece of paper in front of her face. It's almost as if they had stopped what they were doing to listen in. I shoot a quick glance in Monika's direction. She has a confused look on her face, and can only offer me a small, almost imperceptible shrug. I return the shrug and head to the hallway. As I exit the room, I notice that Yuri's already halfway down the hall. She didn't even wait for us. Oh my goodness. What was the point of this argument then? She has set the teapot on the floor and has placed her hands on her forehead against the wall. Her hair is draped down, covering her face. As I get closer, I can hear her voice from under her hair. Stupid. How could you talk to her like that? Stupid Yuri. Yuri? She's startled by my voice and jerks up suddenly. Titus? I'm sorry about my behavior in there. I don't know, I was just angry all of a sudden. No! I'm sure Monika must hate me now. You probably hate me too. I don't understand if you don't want to talk to me anymore after seeing me like that. Whoa! Calm down, Yuri. It's alright. I don't hate you. And I'm sure Monika doesn't either. Or at least I hope. I hope. I really hope. Yuri peers at me from behind her hair. But I was so cruel and boorish. Nobody would want me around me. Nobody would want to be around me rather after such an outburst. It's just like with Natsuki yesterday. I've always gotten the impression that Yuri doesn't get out much. But hearing her like this, I honestly wonder if she has anyone she's close with. Why am I worried that Kay will pop out any second now? Yuri, one outburst like that isn't going to brand you as some kind of horrible person. Everyone has bad days, and sometimes they just snap. It's fine. Your friends will understand. My friends? Yeah! Isn't Monika your friend? Yuri looks away again. She seems like she doesn't know how to answer my question. I mean, have you ever discussed something personal with her? Or perhaps anyone in the club? Well, not really. I'm a rather private person. You don't say! I just have similar interests to the other members, but I don't know if I really think of them as friends. Okay, well, then I'll tell you something personal about myself. Midas? Nothing scandalous, I hope. If I didn't know any better, I'd almost say that she was flirting with me. About a year ago, I was preparing to go to an anime convention. This may not be the best interest for her, considering that she doesn't have a particular interest in it, but let's see what'll happen. I had planned to meet up with some guys I knew on message boards. Well, we got to talking, and we decided that we all go in okay, cosplay. And we decided that we would go as Sailor Senshi from Sailor All of you guys would go as Sailor Senshi? Yuri gives you a blank look. There's schoolgirl superheroes just in uniforms. Kind of like yours. Huh. Now that I think about it, it's kind of akin to it. Okay. Yuri seems less than impressed. So anyway, I got elected to be the leader. So I would go as Sailor Moon. I spent weeks working on my uniform. I just watched so many episodes to make sure it was accurate. And finally, the big day arrived. We agreed to meet up at the supermarket a few blocks away from the convention. So I showed up at the market dressed up in my beautiful schoolgirl outfit with my blonde wig and pigtails, carrying my moon-shaped magic wand. None of the other guys showed up. Ow. Ow. Ouch! I was expecting like they would come, but they weren't in uniform. They're not here entirely. So I spent over an hour there just like that. Sailor Moon without her senshi. Yuri looks at me with a dumbfounded expression on her face. And slowly a smile starts to spread across her face. She cups her hand over her mouth, attempting to stifle a laugh, but it escapes as a small snort, which turns into a gentle hearty laughter. You must have been quite a sight. I'm actually surprised you got the reference. Because, like what I said, I think Yuri doesn't have that much of an interest in anime. Well, I don't look too bad in a school uniform if I do say so myself. Boy MC. I'll bet. I think it's the first time I've heard Yuri laugh. It's a nice sound. I think I may be seeing a side of her that she doesn't show very often. Well, that is quite the story, Midas. Well, now you know something personal about me. I suppose it's only fair that I share or tell something personal about myself. I'm afraid I don't have any funny stories about going out with friends. We didn't even exactly go out with our friends. The bitch left us. Sailor Moon without her senshi. It's fine. You don't have to tell me anything if you aren't comfortable doing it. No, it's only fair after all. Part of my frustration earlier stems from an incident okay. Some of my classmates were teasing me about a nasty humor that's been spread about me. Well, someone started the rumor that I'd been caught in the girls' bathroom doing something undignified with a pen. I've heard that rumor making the rounds. I had no idea though. Oh, okay. So, you apparently heard about it. Yuri? It isn't true. I would never. I know, Yuri. Some people out there are just trash and they'll tear down a kind, wonderful person like you just to make themselves feel better. And here's some motivation from me. Follow this advice. Like, you may be shat on, but some people are trash. Don't pay attention to them. Yuri's expression changes. She stops hiding behind her hair and looks at me straight in the eye. I can see a mixture of relief and admiration in her eyes. Midas, you're so nice to me. What are friends for? You and I are friends? Of course. Why wouldn't we be? Yuri smiles warmly. The way she's looking at me makes me feel like I should be blushing. I like being friends with you. Midas? I return her smile. Me too, Yuri. We both stand looking at each other for a moment, each unsure of how to fill the sudden awkward silence. So when you were in a schoolgirl uniform... Ah, okay. You didn't shave your legs for authenticity, did you? Look at that. We haven't gotten the water for the tea yet. We should really get onto that. We both laugh at this and Yuri picks up the teapot. They both head down the hall toward the water fountain together, perhaps walking a little closer to each other than we were before. We return to the room and begin to read our chapter of Portrait of Markov. Some time passes as I move on to read some with Natsuki as well as take care of some club business with Sayori. Finally, it's time to read our poems, so I get mine out of my bag and head over to join the group. And once again, Yuri eyeballs my poem carefully. She doesn't seem as confused this time. In fact, she almost looks amused. I must say that you have improved a good deal for just your short poem. Your second poem, rather. You're just being nice to me, Yuri. No, I mean it. You seem to have a better grip on your words this time. It is a bit freeform. Freeform's an understatement. But I'm starting to see the beginnings of your writing. Really? I have a writing style? Who knew? 20 random words, as I said. So what kind of style do I have? Well, your writing seems to be influenced by your mood? Huh. Considering you seem to have favored words that were opposites to each other, would seem to mean you were conflicted. But today your words and phrases seem to be grouped together in more orderly fashion. I'm seeing short monosyllabic words arranged in a group. Then here I'm seeing more abstract words, especially pertaining to intangible things like emotions. Finally, these words here are lavished and detailed. You can't seem to decide which group of words you prefer, but you are growing in your understanding of them. Perhaps you will eventually settle on which words you prefer. You could read me like a book. Books are my specialty. As are poems. Here's mine for today. I decided to make it a little more complex. Once again, I'm astounded by the way Yuri uses words in her poetry. The way she writes put clear images in my head. Yuri's waiting for my reaction. She isn't fidgeting as much as she was yesterday, but I can still feel the tension emanating from her. This poem's really good, Yuri. Yuri exhales after I say that. The tension is suddenly gone and a content look appears on her face. I'm very happy to hear that from you, Midas. What can you tell me about this poem? Well, suddenly the tension returns. It's about certain things are perceived by other people. Some people have hobbies and interests that others might ridicule them for. Some people, huh? I empathize with people like that. Wow. Yuri's opening up to me some more. Do you have any unusual hobbies that you are afraid people will find out about? I'll take our silence as a yes. I guess I need to steer the conversation away from that topic. Don't worry about it. Because you're talking to the king of unusual hobbies. MC himself. Sailor Moon, remember? Hey, there's nothing wrong with cross-dressing. At least that's coming from me. But if you guys have a different opinion on that, then fine. It's alright with me. But if you can ask me, a dude cosplaying as a girl, a girl cosplaying as a dude, there's nothing wrong with that. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine. He wouldn't want you to be uncomfortable. Yuri smiles wide at that comment. Thank you, Midas. I really appreciate that. Anytime, Yuri. Your prom's good. Thank you. Are you going to show me yours? No. I'm not interested in having my poetry criticized by you. I know you won't like it, so let's just skip the whole reading portion. I had enough crap to deal with. I don't need you tearing me down. I see. Seriously? I see? That's all you have for me after yesterday? You're so frustrating, you know that? Don't you want to talk about it? I mean, you come in here, you barely talk to us. Getting to talk about yourself is like pulling teeth! And now all of a sudden you're argument with me? Or you start an argument with me? And today you pop off to the club president. Seriously, Yuri. What's wrong with you? If something's really wrong, you need to tell us, understand? Come on, Yuri. Spit it out! What's wrong? Fine. Be that way. If anything is really wrong, I hope you can talk to one of the others about it. Because you sure don't seem to care to let me in. Yikes! That's it? From Natsuki? This is only the second day! Oh my goodness! I must say, Yuri, I love getting to read your poetry. You really have a way with your words. Thank you. Anyway, the use of words like guilty and unordinary tell me that the speaker is feeling apprehensive about something. Is this poem some kind of guilty pleasure, perhaps? Maybe a hobby someone wants to keep hidden? I suppose if that's what you think. Are you okay? You're awfully quiet, and I hope to the heavens that Yuri speaks up about this to Monika. I'm usually quiet. Yes? But you almost seem like you're afraid of me. I'm ashamed about how I acted toward you earlier. That's not a big... I was unbelievably rude. To our club president, no less. Monika, I know my actions were unforgivable. Yuri didn't kill a single fly. I'm sure you're alright. I know you must hate me for how I acted. I'll understand if you ask me to leave. Be an apt punishment after all. Yuri, nobody wants you to leave. The way you acted yesterday was unusual for you. But I know that isn't exactly who you really are. I just assumed you were dealing with something stressful and lost your head for a moment. Happens to all of us. I know you're just being nice. Surely you never acted so out of turn. Come on. I wish my mom could hear you say that. I've lost my temper with her plenty of times. Don't we all? At the very least once. Got an argument with our parents. Monika! You behave that way to your own mother? I'm afraid so. Naughty girl. I can be pretty stubborn at times, and she and I have had our share of troubling matches. I never would have imagined. Yuri, we're all complex, emotional creatures. Sometimes we hit our limit and lash out. Happens to all of us. The important thing is that to be understanding when it happens. I don't know what you're going through that would frustrate you so much, but I won't hold an emotional outburst like that against you. Thank you, Monika. That really means a lot to me. Glad I could be there for you, Yuri. Wait a minute, where's Sayori? Now that we're done with our poems, I need everyone to come up to the front of the room to discuss something. Great, I know what's coming. This is about the Where's Sayori? Yes, it is. Okay. But I'll tell you right now, I don't think we have time to put anything together. If we do, we'll be slapdash and poorly done. Nobody will want to join if we put on something crappy. So we probably shouldn't do anything. He's right. A rushed display would reflect poorly on our club. Perhaps we should withhold our efforts for now and plan for a later event. Don't worry, guys. We have a plan. The best part is, it won't require a huge amount of setup. We'll just need a few decorations, some snacks, and ourselves. We're going to have a public poetry reading. Public? I said reading in front of people? Of course. We've been having so much fun writing our own poems in the club. I thought it would be fun to show them off to everyone. When everyone sees us getting into poetry, it'll help ease some stigma associated with something called a literature club. And we'll invite other people to come up and recite their own. Sayori's been making the posters with the information so that people can prepare their poems ahead of time. At the very least, she's here. Like, we may not share poems with her, but at least she's in the room. Sure enough, it announces a poetry reading and invites everyone rather to come with their own poetry prepared. There's even a picture with all 4 of the girls on the poster. Where's us? Did you already put those up? Yeah. Just a few in front of the hall. The rest will go up tonight. Monika, I am not reading poetry in front of strangers. Oh? I thought that we'd all be reading with we've been doing here. I thought that with all the reading we've been doing here rather, you'd be more comfortable with the idea. Well, I'm not. I mean, I've got it to the point that I can share it with you guys. But to have it with strangers? No way! I'm not showing this side of myself to them. Okay, Natsuki said her piece. What about you, Yuri? I think Yuri's position is quite clear. She's reading! Neither Natsuki or Yuri are interested in the idea, but Monika and Sayori continue to defend it. For my part, I try my best to argue in favor of the poetry reading. The festival has always been fun in the past, and I think a good showing would be good for the club. Finally, Monika gives a passionate speech about how this club has been a place of acceptance for all its members. With their expressions having changed, both Yuri and Natsuki agree that Monika is right. I've noticed that this club seems to be a safe place for the both of them. They are both free to be themselves within the confines of this classroom. Even Sayori chimes with this discussion, or in with the discussion, about how the literature club has been good for her. Well, you both put up a pretty good argument. I suppose I could get up there and recite a poem or two. I suppose I could if I worked up to it. I'd like to recite some poetry here with all of you, if you don't mind. That sounds like a great idea, Yuri. Let's all take a moment and recite a poem right here. After all, if we can do it in front of each other, we can do it in front of the other strangers. Or a group of strangers, right? So we each recite poems in front of the class one by one, starting with Monika. After she finishes, who wants to go next? Did something flash in the corner just sudden? Or probably me being a bit dizzy. I'll go. I might as well get this over with. Yuri opens her folder and looks over a few poems she has written. She ultimately settles on one and slowly makes her way to the front of the room like a condemned criminal taking her final walk. As she passes by me, I notice that her hands are shaking. I relate to you a lot, Yuri. My hands shake a lot. For a seemingly long while, Yuri finally reaches the podium. She straightens out her paper and slowly looks up to the rest of us. Her eyes wide open and her chest is rising and falling with each rapid breath she takes. Really? Right now? My poem is called... Yuri's breathing continues to speed up. I'm almost afraid she'll hyperventilate. She quickly glances at us, one by one, and then back at her paper she fumbles with her hands behind the podium. I wish I could do something for her. I don't have many options, so I decided to do the only thing I can think of. You'll do great, Yuri. You got this. Yuri looks up at me suddenly, and thank God, I was getting the creeps all of a sudden. You can do it, Yuri. Almost on cue, Yuri starts chanting Yuri's name like a cheerleader at a sporting event. But despite all of Sayori's enthusiasm, Yuri never breaks eye contact with me. Her breathing slows down and her expression calms. My poem is called The Portrait. Wait a minute. The Portrait of a Crimson. Why do I have a feeling that the title's changed slightly? Like, I know Crimson Eye is part of the title, but Portrait? Isn't it something like... I can't remember. I was standing alone, people crowding the halls. A captive in this place, I wandered deeper and deeper. Feeling like such a disgrace walking through an open door, I feel disoriented no more. She closes her eyes as she delivers her poem. Her voice is strong and purposeful, a far cry from her nervous stuttering. The vibrant colors on the shelves, people keeping to themselves, except for one enjoying the elder's wrath. For trying to yell and distract, I wandered deep within, and I soon began to gaze at the shelves. I soon found myself at the end of a shelf. She begins to gesture with her arms as if she's inviting us to join her on some mysterious journey. Her body moves slightly but gracefully as she begins to speak more. All of this combines to create an almost hypnotic effect. What if she is hypnotizing us? So I began again. In the inferno I felt searching. When I could rather be working on the assignments it's soon due. At the end of the day I walked away with a book of my choice. A book with a portrait of a crimson eye. Yuri finishes her poem and opens her eyes. Huh. That didn't really sound all Yuri-like. It sounded more like Monika. I mean, the character itself depicts Yuri as a character, but how it's delivered kinda sounds like Monika. There is a moment of silence that hangs in the air as the rest of us absorb what we have just experienced. I hope it wasn't too long, I'm sorry. Wow. Yuri! It's so cute! Not bad, I guess. That's the best we can get from Natsuki. Wow, Yuri. Where have you been hiding that? I'm glad you liked it. Maybe it's just me, but I almost feel like Yuri was looking right at me when she said that. Everyone else reads their poems after that, including a riveting performance by myself, of course. And our time is up for today. Sayori and I walk home together since we live so close. However, before we set out to take a moment to say goodbye to Yuri. Hey Yuri, your poetry reading today was awesome! I can't wait for the festival so I can hear more. If we could even make it in time! That's really nice of you to say, Midas. That was an older poem from a little while ago. I think I may write a new one for the festival. Well, if you write it, I'm sure it'll be good. Maybe you could write a poem about me sometime. Oh no. Oh, well, perhaps I shall. Alright then. See you tomorrow, Yuri. Until tomorrow, Midas. Let's see. Thursday. So that means it's stir-fry night. She works until 10, so I have extra time to prepare. Oh, wait. She's talking about her mother. She works until 10, so I have extra time to prepare. I prefer beef and broccoli for dinner. I'll pick up some meat from the market and... Of course. Of course. And so, when she wasn't looking, I knocked her book onto the floor. So, of course, she bends over to pick it up. And I sat back and admired the view. Oh, God. Show the world to me, baby. It's him. I can't face him today. I'll walk home a different way today. Wait a minute, huh? Wait. So we didn't bump into him exactly. Maybe we won't run into him. Well, I guess the new route isn't too bad. It'll take a little longer to get home, but I should still have enough time to get to the market. I'll need to make extra time to read ahead, even though I've read poetry on the market before. I don't want to fall behind him. Do you always It's Natsuki! Do you always discuss your plans out loud with yourself? Natsuki? What are you doing here? My house is this way. I walk home this way every day. What are you doing here? It's a little embarrassing. Okay, thank you, Yuri, that you're telling the honest truth to Natsuki. There's this boy who's been saying things to me. Okay, stop right there. First off, I think I know who you're talking about. And you aren't the only girl who's... Oh! You aren't the only girl who's had trouble with him, okay? Take it off. You don't need to be embarrassed about some guy being a jerk to you. You didn't do anything wrong. Third off, he'll leave you alone if you travel with a group. Or come with me after school. He won't bother you at all. Ooh! Natsuki to save the day. This is nice. I promise. But I don't want to be a burden to you or anything. Besides, I know you don't... I don't what, Yuri? You don't like... Oh. We're getting this conversation early on, okay? You don't like me. It's fine, really. I know how other people feel about me. I know you just tolerate me since we both in the same club. And I appreciate it, but you don't need to keep that outside of the club. I understand. Yuri? I don't dislike you. I mean, you're odd. I'll give you that. And I kinda thought you were stuck up when I first joined. And you did kinda piss me off yesterday. But I don't hate you or anything. In fact, I think some of the books you read sound kinda cool. Really? Yeah, but don't tell others I said that. Look at that. You got a laugh out of you. I'm sorry how rude I was to you yesterday. Don't worry about it. I think we both know what we were really arguing about. So apparently, we both wrote about the same subject in our poems. Oh, wait, like, my mind lagged a bit. I now get what they're saying. Yes. If you don't get it, basically, I think Yuri assumed it was about MC. At least that's my assumption. About unusual hobbies and how others perceive them. Yeah! I mean, it's pretty obvious, but mine was about manga. Everyone seems to think it's childish, but I really enjoy the deep characters and thought-provoking stories. That's right! You fight for that, Natsuki. You mentioned that before, Natsuki. I admit that I've never really thought of much about manga, as I thought it was for children. What drew you to it in the first place? Well... when I was a little girl, my mom would take me to the store to go shopping with her. I hated every minute of it. It was so boring! So, as a way to keep me happy, she started buying me issues of manga when I behaved. After that, I loved her trips to the store. So I guess that's how it all started. Why is she sad after all of this? This is actually kinda cute! Now that I say that out loud, it almost sounds like manga brings me happy memories of my mom. Oh. She... Oh. Well, that explains it. He's gone. I see. I'm sorry. That's how it... Huh? That's how it is with me as well. I thought... For a second there, I was wondering, did she say something about her mother working until 10? My father isn't with us anymore. Now that he's gone, it's just my mother and I. She has to provide for the both of us by herself. She works 2 different jobs just to keep our little household afloat. I do what I can to help. Since she isn't home much of the time, I clean the house and usually prepare dinner. It's really just a lot of time. I do a lot of cooking as well. Although my dad is home quite a bit. Natsuki? Cherish every moment you have with your father. You don't know how blessed you are to still have your father in your life. You can say that again. Well, anyway, I'm almost at my house. Hey! Since we wound up writing about the same things last night, why don't we pick a topic and write poems about it? It'll be a neat way to see how our different styles tackle the same subject. That sounds like a marvelous idea. Alright, what should we write about? How about the beach? The beach? Discussing happier times has made me think of the beach. My parents used to take me there when I was a little girl. I remember standing at the edge of the water, letting the waves wash over my feet. I would sink into the sand just a little, and feel the grains between my toes. And then the water would recede, I would watch it and wonder where it went. Where did the water begin? And where did it end? Oh, if only we could be all so young and innocent again. You could say that again, Yuri. I think that may be my happiest memory. Really? Not so different with me. We used to go to the beach as a family as well. I think our last trip was with my mother's last days. She wasn't feeling well, but she insisted we take a trip as a family. I remember building sandcastles and watching the waves wash away my footprints. I kept asking where my mom went. I keep asking my mom where they went, rather. I remember my dad laughed at that. That may have been the last time I heard him. Alright. We'll ride him at the beach tonight. We'll compare our poems tomorrow. Deal? Deal. Alrighty then. See you tomorrow, Yuri. And you as well, Natsuki. Well, that was pretty soft. Yuri? There you are, Midas. Please, I need something to tell you. I have something I need to tell you, rather. Of course, Midas, you can tell me anything. Yuri? I love you! Midas! This is so forward of you. I can't deny my feelings any longer. I love you, Yuri. And I love you too, Midas. My darling, you will never be alone again. Oh, my love. My heart beats for only you. Yuri? Yuri? Yuri! Oh my god. Yuri? Your heart beats for only who now? I hope that we weren't saying that out loud. Natsuki? That was for something in my book. Yeah, I've heard it before, Yuri. Don't think I don't know what's on your mind. Huh? Uh-huh. Say, what's the deal with Sayori? Oh? What do you mean? You didn't notice? She's not bouncing everywhere, she's not chatting our ears off, and she's been staring at the wall for at least 10 minutes! Now that you mention it, this is the first time we've seen her look so fatigued. I wonder if something is wrong. I don't know. I just went to talk to her. Now it looks like Monika's heading over there. I hope it's nothing serious. I hope so too! Perhaps I'll ask Midas about it. Aw, look at you! Taking the initiative and all. Well, Sayori's close friends with Midas and perhaps there is something affecting them both. Whatever you say, Yuri. I'm so impressed that I'll let you head over there to talk to him while I organize my manga. Huh? I didn't realize I had to get your permission to talk to him. No. Nothing like that. It's just that once he starts talking to me, he's not gonna want to stop. Natsuki. Catch you later, Yuri. Huh. I'm sitting at one of the desks near the middle of the room. I got my copy portrait of Markov ready as well as my next volume of Parfait Girls. But I'm too busy thinking about Sayori to meet up with either Yuri or Natsuki. It's weird. The mere sight of seeing an unhappy Sayori brings my whole world down. Perhaps... I suddenly have a feeling that I'm being watched. I sit up and realize that I've been staring off into space. Yuri's sitting in the chair next to me. She also sat down while I was spacing out. Strangely, she doesn't have her face in the book. Instead, her copy of Markov is sitting on the desk in front of her unopened. She turned in her chair to face me. She's looking at me intently with a concern on her face. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stir and intrude your thoughts. If you'd rather be alone, it's fine, Yuri. Are you alright? Am I? I don't know. I don't know. It's Sayori, isn't it? Just seeing her like this... It isn't her, you know? I mean, people have ups and downs, but... I've never seen Sayori down before. I don't know how to feel about it. I realize I'm kind of unloading on Yuri. To her benefit, she is just sitting there quietly listening to me ramble. I'm sorry, Yuri. I didn't mean to talk your ear off like that. Now it's my turn to apologize. Don't worry about it. Sometimes we all just need a listening ear, and I don't mind at all. But as for Sayori, it seems that there is more to her thoughts than she lets on. Well, I suppose. But I've known her for so long, I just kind of assumed I knew everything about her. Well... Yuri looks down at the floor for a moment, then she looks straight into my eyes. Sometimes people keep their innermost feelings even from the people they love. That's kind of foreshadowing. Was that about sayori or... Anyway, I can tell how much you care about Sayori. You are sharing her pain. Really? How so? I mean, for concern, first off. Well, let me show you. Yuri picks up her copy of... Huh? Well, okay, the demon book? Okay. Here, this might spoil a few things, but I think this part explains what I mean. Yuri scoots her chair over to me, and we assume our reading position with both of us looking at the same book. I will admit, still worried about Sayori, but being around Yuri has calmed me down a bit. Thank goodness. I start reading the chapter that Yuri has pointed out to me. There are a few plot-related things I don't fully understand, since I haven't read about them yet, but the crew of the chapter deals with the main character, Alyssa. Isn't that... Yeah, it is. That's the name from the website. She has been captured by a group of deranged people who are performing horrible experiments on her. At this point, she has been locked in a room after the latest round of experiments have finished. She's at the brink of despair and considers stabbing herself to death with the jagged piece of metal she ripped off the bed frame. However, she suddenly becomes aware of her friend who is searching for her. Alyssa has disappeared from her town, and their best friend, the one Yuri had compared to Sayori, has been looking tirelessly for her whereabouts. It had been long enough that her friend was about to abandon her search, and she cried out with her heart full of pain. And Alyssa heard her? Somehow Alyssa has formed a sort of psychic rapport with her friend, and the two are able to read each other's emotions. Where is her friend in the first place? The two of them share their pain with each other, and this gives them the strength to continue their individual plights. After reading the chapter, I close the book and take in the words for a moment. So, are you saying Sayori and I are psychically linked? No, of course not. At least I don't think so. Anyway, the point is, Alyssa and her friend shared their pain with each other, and were able to persevere because of it. That doesn't make sense. Wouldn't sharing pain just multiply it? Divide it is the right word. Not in this case. Instead of multiplying the pain, the two of them drew strength from each other. So instead of one person bearing the weight of their sorrows, there were two. And two people can shoulder a burden more effectively than one. It isn't good for us to be alone. We were meant to be with other people. We're meant to laugh, to cry, to walk down together, down the path that lies before us. And here you are, your heart aching to share Sayori's burden, to lessen her sorrows. I wish I could. I pray she knows that she has a wonderful friend like you. It would be so much harder for her if she had nobody. A sad look passes over Yuri's face. For the first time, I realize the effect that loneliness has had on her. I'm a bit dumbfounded. I don't really know how to respond to that. Part of me wants to hug her. Then go! Go ahead! But I don't know how she would feel about that, so I decide against it. Thanks, Yuri. And actually kinda helped me figure out a lot of things. A little. Not gonna lie. I learned something too. Yuri's expression perks up a little at that. You're welcome, Midas. Well, I guess we've read our chapter today, even though it was out of order. Don't worry about it. I'm more interested now seeing how Alyssa and our friend get the psychic thing going. Maybe I'll read a few chapters this weekend to get up to that point. That's a noble goal. I'll be interested to see if you can do it. Is that a challenge? Yuri smiles at me. Perhaps, Midas, perhaps. Flirting? From Yuri? Well, challenge accepted. I'll be all cut up by Monday. That's not the only thing that'll be cut up by Monday. Very well. But you'll owe me if you... Huh? You'll owe me if you... What do you mean? Really? What will I owe you? I suppose... Still, Yuri. Our day continues normally after that, even though I continue to keep an eye on Sayori. Eventually, Monika calls us over to share her poems. Okay, I don't believe, Midas, that we just may make a poet out of you yet. Using the grass to apply concepts quickly. Thank you, but I'm still convinced still 20 random words. Freeform! Your freeform tendencies from the first day mostly consolidated into an actual form. 20 condensed words? Well, I guess that means I'm a poet and I didn't know it, huh? I have to say, I appreciate that you laugh at my stupid jokes. Thank you. Still, you continue to use a variety of antonyms in your poetry, like you're still confused about something. I'm an easy guy to confuse. Right. Tell me, are you having difficulty with some decision? She would have to ask that. Well, there are a lot of things coming up soon in our lives, and I guess I'm a little worried about how it will all play out. You're not the only one. I see. Not exactly a lie, but... Do your feelings have anything to do with the way Sayori is acting today? I suppose so. I mean, she's my friend and I'm very concerned. I mean, like what I said earlier, I guess everything just seems out of sorts with her acting down. I can see how difficult it must be. How would you wish to remove the painful weight from the shoulders of the one you... Huh? What was that, Yuri? Nothing. Here, read my poem. It's the peach poem. I'm still dumbfounded that I didn't get this. The original game. Beach! I'm trying not to imagine Yuri in a swimsuit. I'm trying not to imagine Yuri in a swimsuit. I'm failing at trying to imagine Yuri in a swimsuit. No. They're all hot in their own ways, so why not? Are you okay? Fine! I really like the imagery this poem conveys. Very hot! Again, not exactly a lie. Midas? I was so worried about this poetry sharing exercise. Oh my god. But with you, I find it easy to share poems with you. Okay. If I didn't know better, that almost sounds like... Well, I'm glad you find me easy to get along, Yuri. Perhaps we can share some more this weekend at Monika's house. What? You didn't know about that? Monika will discuss it after we are done. Okay. I wonder what's going on this weekend. Yesterday, you and Natsuki just happened to touch on similar subjects. But today you both wrote about the beach? You two collaborated, didn't you? Yes. I hope that that's alright. There are no rules that you can't, right? I mean, I understand that poetry is a come from the heart, and perhaps it's best when the subject is done naturally. But we were talking about our club meeting yesterday, and the topic came so naturally. I hope that there's no sense in being upset about this, Yuri. I hope you're not upset that we plan to write about the same thing. Upset? Yuri, I couldn't be happier. It means we're bonding, and we get to write. It's a win-win situation. I really want this place to be inviting and comfortable. You've always been so quiet. You weren't even afraid to ask me about joining when we first met. And you weren't exactly... gung-ho? Huh. That's the first time I've seen that word. I mean, I know there are some words that I can't read from past playthroughs, but I've never seen this word before. But now, here you are discussing poetry with Natsuki after club meetings? You're really coming out of your shell, Yuri. I guess it just sort of worked out, I guess. Well, I'm looking forward to see what you get close what you'll get closer to all of us, Yuri. Wait a minute. I'm looking forward to seeing what you get I'm sure this is supposed to be when. Anyway, we're supposed to be sharing poems, so here's mine. Is this snow? It feels snow. It looks snow. An old tale tells of a lady who wanders earth, a lady who knows everything, a beautiful lady who has found every answer, all meaning, all purpose, and all that was ever sought. And here I am, a feather, lost adrift the sky, the victim of currents of the wind. Day after day I search with little hope, knowing legends don't exist. But when all else has failed me, and all others have turned away, the legend is all that remains. The last dim star glimmering in the twilight sky. Twilight? Twilight sky. Until one day the wind ceases to blow, I fall, and I fall, and I fall, and fall even more. Gentle as a feather. A dry quill, expressionless. But a hand catches me between the thumb and forefinger. The hand of a beautiful lady. I look at her eyes and find no end to her gaze. The lady that knows everything. Knows what I'm thinking, but before I speak, she responds in a hollow voice. I have found every answer. All of which amount to nothing. There is nothing. There is no meaning. There is no purpose. And I only seek the impossible. I am not your legend. Your legend does not exist. With a breath, she rows me back afloat. And I pick up a gust of wind. Okay. So this is basically Monika being the feather, and this lady who knows everything. Maybe Alyssa, I don't know, some hidden character that I don't know yet. Telling Monika that yes, there's no escape from this jail, this prison she calls, well, my PC, our PC. So yeah, I think that's how I interpret it. Monika? This poem is so melancholy. This is probably the loveliest description of frustration I've ever read. I knew you'd get it, Yuri. How could I not? A feather in the wind, a fruitless search. I see what you're trying to convey, but I'm having a hard time believing it. Like what I've said before, Yuri. I'm not as in control as I appear. If ever there will be someone in control in this game, it certainly isn't Monika. From what it looks like. In fact, there are several areas in my life that I feel I have no control over at all. And that frustrates me. Monika? I empathize with you. You kept saying that you want this club to be a place of comfort for all of us. Did you perhaps want to provide a space like that because you have never had one yourself? Perhaps that's... okay, that's new. Perhaps that's the case, Yuri. I'll tell you this. I know what it's like to have difficulty fitting in and making friends. And I know what it feels like to be lonely. I desperately want this club to be a place devoid of loneliness. But as far as it stands for me, I believe you succeeded. I think this is the only place I feel like I really belong, Monika. Thank you, Yuri. Statements like that make it all worth it. Monika may be overrated, but come on, she's a lovely character. At least here in this mod, and in the original game. But I won't deny that she is kinda overrated. While it isn't my preferred style, hey, we talked about this. I liked your poem, Yuri. Oh? Perhaps you're stating to see the value in more expressive wordplay? No! Still, with the way you write this, I can almost smell the ocean air and feel the sand under my feet. It's like your words take you there. Ha! That's one point for Yuri. Really? But don't let that go in your head or anything. Poems don't need to be wordy or long to be complex. It's all about how you use words you have. Take mine, for instance. Hey, it's pretty long. For something that Natsuki wrote, it's pretty long. Eh, that's very explicit. Natsuki, I can't help but notice that your poem is longer than mine. Perhaps. But while yours is more free form, my poem is patterned around rhyming form. So even though it's longer, it repeats more. So mine still doesn't need all that complex wordplay to be brilliant. If I didn't know any better, Natsuki, I'd say my style is starting to rub off on you. And I'm guessing when they do Natsuki's route, it'll be reversed. Stop it. Still, I think it's been a nice exercise for the two of us. I'll admit, perhaps complex wordplay can be used to create the poems. Thanks, Natsuki. Discussing this with you has helped me to realize that sometimes brevity is the soul of wit. Huh? I don't even know that word either. A true wordsmith can convey something complex with something simple. Ha! It feels. Finally, it feels nice that you finally hear you admit it. Hey, perhaps we should spend some more time reading each other. Maybe we could learn some more from each other. How about you read a few after we get done here? That sounds nice, but only if we can sit on the floor while we do it. I have pains in my back and I need to lean against the wall for a while if I'm going to read some more. Huh? What's wrong with your back? Nothing. I simply have a poor reading posture. She does this with Natsuki instead of MC. It causes my back to tense up if I sit in one of these chairs too long. Uh-huh. Posture. That's what you're calling it? Jeez, I wish I had I wish I had your back problems. Please, Natsuki. I'm terribly subconscious about, well, I don't like the attention. Alright, I get it. I won't bring it up again. I'm kinda happy that the two of them got that. Thank you, Natsuki. Where the hell is Sayori? Alright guys, now that we've read our poems, we need to discuss festival preparations. We all know what our jobs are, right? I know what I'm doing. That's right. Natsuki will be making cupcakes. Where is Sayori? All sorts of flavors. Yuri will be preparing decorations for our club room. A room full of decorations adorned with your beautiful handwriting will really enhance the atmosphere. Of course. After all. Thank you, Yuri. I love atmosphere. I admit I crack up a little inside hearing Yuri say that. She seems like she's coming out of her shell a bit more every day. I'm glad that I've gotten to know her well enough that I can see more of her personality. Don't be a... Huh? That reply... Like, it fits with what we just said and what Yuri just said. And so you're in charge of the pamphlets. Okay, thank goodness she's still in the room. I've got lots of happy designs ready. We'll be rolling in numbers in no time. So what time do we need to come over, Monika? Come over where? You weren't paying attention at all, were you? Do I ever? Monika's invited all of us to her house tomorrow, so we can work on our various projects together. If we help out each other, the work will go much faster. Plus, it will be splendid. Just to get opportunity to know each other outside of school. It'll be like a retreat. Not to discussing what we're reading, and I'll be baking, so there'll be plenty of desserts to go around. A whole day for all of us to hang out. So, you have room for a newest member, right? A whole day of nothing but sweets and pretty girls? Twist my arm. Plus, I have to admit, I'm a bit curious to see what Monika's house looks like. Actually, guys, that's the thing I needed to talk to you about. I can't have you all over this weekend. But how about our preparations? What gives? We were supposed to use that time to get all our stuff done. I'm really sorry, guys, but something important suddenly came up. I can't really go into details right now, but believe me, I'd have never called off our get-together for anything else. But what about what I have planned would really benefit from the input of other people? The synergy produced through group work will really add to the presentation. And baking for so many people takes a long time. I mean, I could do it myself, but it would be much easier with help. I was really looking forward to it. I know, sayori, we all were. Well, that deflated the mood fast. I guess that means preparations were going to be a lot harder now. Unless... Hey guys, just a thought, but why don't we move it to my house? Well, that got their attention. Everyone agrees to come over to my house to complete their projects. Yuri proposes that everyone come over one at a time, since there isn't enough room for everyone at once. Not gonna lie, the idea of a group of gorgeous girls parading in and out of my house all weekend sounds like a good time. Sayori, Natsuki, and Yuri squabble a little over with everyone when everyone will come over, but it is ultimately decided that Sayori will come over on Saturday morning, Yuri on that afternoon, and Natsuki on Sunday. After all of that is sorted out, Yuri comes up to me as the meeting is ending. Well, earlier she seemed a little more confident than usual, but she once again seems nervous. And she's fidgeting with her hands. I think we should exchange numbers. Right. How could I forget to do that? That way I can text you the directions to my house. Yuri quickly turns away, obviously flustered. You alright, Yuri? A bit of a step. I mean giving you my number. And going to your house. Huh? Don't think anything about it. I mean, Natsuki and Sayori are moving over as well. It's not like I'm asking you to marry her. But she wants you. She wants you to. It's not like I'm asking you to marry me or anything. Yuri? Nothing to broke Yuri! Of course. This is nothing more than two friends spending time together. Right. Plus my parents are out of town this weekend, so you'll have plenty of room to work. Huh? So we'll be alone at your house? I suppose so. Alright then. Still seems a bit flustered. But do I detect a hint of anticipation in her voice? Well then, we can contact each other, so I suppose I'll see you on Saturday then. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Yuri flashes me a wide smile at me. It's a look I honestly didn't expect to see from her. I as well am looking forward to it. Until then, I'm beginning to wonder what I've gotten myself into. Hey Yuri, wait up! Natsuki! Hey, are you walking your normal way home? I thought you were going to walk home with me, so you wouldn't run into Kay. Well, I didn't know if you'd want to walk with me. I mean, considering the status of our rival? Huh? Of our rivalry. Rivalry? Same reaction, Natsuki. What? Why can't you just come out and say it? We are competing for the same guy. Well, does it not make us enemies? Enemies? Yuri, what do you think this is? So oh my god. I'm liking how they write Natsuki in this mod. Some kind of cheap romance novel. I like him. You like him. This isn't going to end with the two of us squaring off with sabers at dawn. That was a joke. I'm sorry, Natsuki. I'm just new to this whole scenario. Oh, please. Have you looked at yourself in the mirror lately? What do you mean by that? Come on! You're tall, gorgeous. You have long legs and hair that cascades down like a waterfall. You've got this. Oh, look at me. I'm the whole demurred Sha. I'm hiding behind my hair thing going. You've got big... posture. Big posture? The point is, your tits are big compared to Natsuki. And if you wanted, you could have a whole boatload of guys at your fingertips. Why don't you go bat your eyes at one of them? Natsuki, I don't think you understand that there are a handful of guys who would like to be with you too. I'm Exhibit A. And you know, let the rest of us have a chance. It really isn't easy for me, Natsuki. The way I am, it isn't some coy thing I do for attention. Quite the opposite, really. I'm vexed and frustrated by my inability to relate to other people. I never know what to say to them or how they may perceive what I do say. I feel like there is a sort of chasm or gulf between me and everyone else, where they wander beyond it without trouble. I sit at the edge, forever contemplating how to cross. I can see them out there holding hands, talking and laughing, but not me. Even the smallest interaction is a monumental task, and I'm so afraid of losing what little I have in the way of relationships. So now that Midas is part of the club and I have known him to be relatable and understanding, well, I think maybe he's the one to guide me across that wretched chasm. The space between. There's the title. The space between. Well, that's really poetic and all, but that doesn't change what I feel. So don't think I'm gonna bow out or anything. But you understand, Natsuki. I suppose I should expect nothing less. Hey, don't make this out to be a declaration of war. Look, let's make a pact. No matter which one of us Midas ends up with, we'll both promise to remain friends. How does that sound? You and I are friends? Yeah! I like hanging out with you. Our interests are similar, but different enough that we can have the good discussions about them. And it's really been nice getting to know you the last few days. So yeah, sounds like a friendship to me. Oh? Well, I accept your pact of friendship. And I swear that it shall endure beyond the contest of the heart that we find ourselves embroiled with. Sure. So anyway, I guess I'll see you on Monday at the festival. Alright. You'll find me hanging off on Midas's arm. Natsuki, see ya then. I swear she drives me insane sometimes. But then, perhaps that is the mark of true friendship. There it is. There it is. Perhaps that is the mark of true friendship. At any rate, we'll see who's hanging off on Midas's arm come Monday. And we'll get to see who else is hanging.